Well, welcome. So glad you could take a few moments and join me for Let Me Encourage You Thursday. And it really is my hope you'll be encouraged today. This past weekend, in our series titled Joy Regardless, I was talking about courage. And in fact, this Sunday, I'm going to talk about courage part two. So don't miss that. Be a part of it. We'd love to have you join us on Sunday at 9 a.m. at Crossroads for our online worship. Look forward to seeing you there, or participating with you, I should say. But when I talked about courage, there was one point that I made regarding priority, courage and priority. And as I got to thinking about that this week, I realized there's something very encouraging about having our priorities in an appropriate order. So I want to share those four thoughts with you very briefly today. Before I do that, there was a quote that I used that is really significant. It was significant for me, and I think it really is significant for us. Here's the quote. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important. Think about that for a moment. Something else is more important. I do think that at a time like we are presently experiencing, we've talked about this, fear can enter in. There's no question. And so once again, courage isn't the absence of fear, but rather the judgment. Think about that. The judgment that something else is more important. So I want to be courageous at this particular time. I don't want to be fearful. I want to be courageous. And in so doing, I want to find those things that are the most important things in my life. And I believe when I do, and when I practice them, I'm going to be encouraged. The first is this, our relationship with God. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, he said, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. Think about that. Seek first the kingdom of God. That's the most important thing for you and I that we should be doing, even at a time like this. Frankly, we can be maybe fearful. We're not as courageous to put God in the right place in our life. Even though at this particular moment in our history, we have more time than maybe we have had. So can I strongly encourage you? Take a look at where God is at this moment in your daily life. And if he's not first, make him first. Spend those moments with him in prayer and in his word. But put God first in your life. The second is family. I love my family. But my family can't take precedence over my relationship with God. I need to nurture my relationship with my family, but first I need to nurture my relationship with God. In fact, later in the book of Matthew, Jesus said this in Matthew chapter 22. He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Think about it. Everything is to be dedicated to the love of God. So that's first. But then he says the second greatest commandment is love your neighbors yourself. And your family is part of that. Part of that. And so we need to put God first and then our family and dedicate these extra moments to our family. Maybe they have taken a second place or a third place sometimes in the press of life. And they need to follow right along, right behind, as it were, the relationship you have with God. Nurture your relationship with your family, but don't elevate them higher than your relationship with God. Third is what I would call me, myself, and I. I've been a little hesitant over the years maybe to do that. I may have even at times kind of ignored me for the sake of other things. Don't do that. I do believe it's important. Again, back to what Jesus said in Matthew 22, he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength. And then he said, love your neighbors yourself. So there is this, we put our family in a place where they have a higher priority than us, but we don't ignore us. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Paul talked about that in 1 Timothy. He was talking to this young man he was mentoring him. And he said, physical training is of some value. Training in godliness is greater, but physical training is of value. So I would just say, get out and exercise, walk more, count your steps. I was talking to my son the other day. He got like 18,000 steps in before noon or some crazy amount. The point is, take care of yourself. Paul would also talk about watch your life and your doctrine closely. So we need to watch our lives in these times of a lot of downtime, a lot of alone time. Be careful. The enemy would like to do anything he can to work on you, to destroy you. Don't let him do it. Watch your life. Watch what you believe closely. And then Paul went on and said, he said, look, don't just drink water. He had some stomach issues, and so he was prescribing do some different things. Why? For self-care. Self-care. Watch what you eat. Be aware. Self-care. So love God first, love family, love yourself, and then the fourth thing is your job. You know, workaholism is a real thing. You know, sometimes workaholics don't necessarily have to work more hours to be a workaholic, but they can just never shut it off. And it begins to push other things out. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. If that becomes a difficulty in your life, it becomes discouraging. You may not see it initially. You may think, I've got to do this. I'm fearful. If I don't do this, I'm not going to. No, remember, put God first. He's going to take care of all those things. You have this order correctly in place. That's an encouragement in itself. We can walk through life encouraged. We can walk through life with an abundant life because we have these things in right order. I trust this is going to encourage you today. So once again, God first, family, yourself, and your vocation. When you do this, I believe you're going to live an encouraged life. And that's my hope and my prayer for you. Well, just a reminder, don't hesitate. Follow us on social media, Crossroads Church, our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, a variety of things that we have. And then also go to YouTube and subscribe if you haven't already. We're so glad so many of you have. Keep doing that. And not only subscribe, but hit that notification bell so you are aware that when we're posting a video. And it would be my hope too that you would join with us on Sunday at 9 o'clock. And you can find us at gotocrossroads.com, or if you have subscribed to YouTube, you'll know when we're live and ready to go at 9 a.m. And I mentioned on Tuesday, and I'll mention it again, we're 1 week closer to when we'll have an opportunity to be together and worship. And I look forward to being together. I know you do too. And maybe, I'll just say it now, maybe you don't have a church home and you're watching me and you live in the Temecula-Murrieta area. You're in the Temecula Valley. Come and join us when we are back in a physical location. We would love to have the opportunity. Well, until then, and until we gather together on Sunday for worship, I'll see you. Oh, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:14 for our 40-day prayer challenge. Join us on my Facebook page, but you can always connect through Crossroads Facebook page. Blessings to you. Have a great day and be encouraged.